Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dork Entertainment. DE Sports today bringing you the pre-game discussion for India versus New Zealand in the Cricket Men's World Cup. Interesting game we've got coming up, weather persisting. We won't be crossing over to Sumit, who's in London with an umbrella at the moment, but we will be just having a short discussion on, on the game, I guess, and what we think, or what I think the winner is going to be from this clash. Starting off, we'll just look at New Zealand's last couple of games. So if I can get this working. So India's first game was against South Africa, which they won comprehensively. And they had a pretty good victory against Australia the other day. So New Zealand... it's a different ball game, I have to say. New Zealand have really good fast bowlers, and they've rattled India in the previous practice games as well. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge. I think India could only make 170 or so odd runs in that game. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge there for India. India's bowlers, what can I say? They've been bowling really well in the last 2 games. It'll be interesting whether they actually bring in Mohammad Shami this game, because he hasn't actually featured in the tournament yet, and we all know, Mohammad Shami is a very, very accurate bowler. New Zealand, with their batting, they're not very top heavy. They do have Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor. If you can get past those two, then all bets are off. I think that Ross Taylor has the X factor, and Kane Williamson plays that that solid sort of role that you need in the middle innings. New Zealand are currently on top of the table, so 3 matches and 3 wins. So they have been playing absolutely brilliantly. India currently also undefeated. So the only 2 undefeated teams left are actually New Zealand and India. So it's going to be an interesting clash. If India wins this, they do go atop of the table, or equal points with New Zealand. But New Zealand does have a pretty good net run rate there. So the track record, I guess, in head to head, it's not really looking that great for New Zealand actually. So India toured New Zealand 2018-2019, and the last 5 matches, India has beaten New Zealand in 4 of them. So it's 4-1. But of course, World Cup is a different story. I guess they're both playing in different conditions in England. Speaking of the conditions, I'm just going to check what the weather is going to be, because we have had some pretty shoddy weather in England, and mind you, it's supposed to be the summer in England over there, but it's raining. So let's just check. Well, I've got you on here, the weather for tomorrow. Hopefully there is no rain. Okay. So, unfortunately, it looks like there may be some rain. It's in England. Unfortunately, this is always going to be an issue of rain. They don't have any reserve days for this stage of the tournament. So that's a bit, we don't know how much rain we're going to get. So there may be some play this evening with the game, but we don't know actually at the moment, because it does look like it's set to rain for the whole week in Nottingham, UK. So we might get some form of cricket, I hope. There are also scheduled a couple of matches that are happening in England at the moment in the local cricket, which they are still going ahead at the moment. So we'll just check out. Okay, so the only injury concern at the moment for India is Shikhar Dhawan. He did score 100, but unfortunately, I think he actually had a hairline fracture in his thumb, so he will miss out on a couple of games. Hopefully, it's just a couple of games, but it's a fracture, so he could possibly be out for the rest of the tournament as well. They've brought in Rishabh Pant as a backup, which I think it will be very exciting to see Rishabh in the World Cup, because he is a very exciting player, especially lower down the order. They could always push up KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, who are openers. KL Rahul's an opener anyway, so he can open with Rohit Sharma, and bring in Rishabh Pant there as well. So they've also have the option of an all-rounder as well, if they want to bring in another all-rounder. But I think Hardik Pandya is doing an okay job at the moment. His bowling figures aren't the greatest, but he does have that X factor to come in at the end of the game while he's batting and score a couple of quick runs. You've got, in the bowling side of things, you've got, for New Zealand, you've got Trent Boult and Lockie Ferguson, who are pretty good fast bowlers and can swing the ball as well. For India, you've got Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Jasprit Bumrah at the moment. So it doesn't look like there's any changes. I don't think India will change their team too much, apart from bringing in a player for Shikhar Dhawan, because you don't really change a winning formula. And New Zealand, I don't think they'll have any changes either, because they are also undefeated. So it's going to be an interesting game. So I was talking about the all-rounder option as well. So India do have Vijay Shankar in their squad as well. So that's the player who I was thinking of, Vijay Shankar, to slip into the squad as another all-rounder. But they might not tinker too much with having two all-rounders in the team. I think they'll stick with the one all-rounder in Hardik Pandya. Jadeja is also there, who may get a go at some stage of this tournament, depending on the pitch. We've seen a lot of batter-friendly pitches so far. There's been one or two games where they have extracted some swing or some spin from the track, so it's not entirely batting friendly. It does give a little bit for the bowlers too. New Zealand, I think they've got a pretty steady squad. They've got Kane Williamson and Martin Guptill opening at the top, which is a really good combination. Guptill, he's hit and miss. Sometimes he'll fire, sometimes he won't. But then you've got Kane Williamson coming in after that with Ross Taylor as well. So they look like a pretty solid squad there. So New Zealand, in the last World Cup tournament, I think they were undefeated up until the World Cup final, which is where they lost to Australia. And they did play majority of their games, I think all of the games actually, prior to the finals in New Zealand, so they had a bit of an advantage there. And the first game they played in Australia was, I think, the final, which they lost. India also played well in the last tournament. They won, I think, most of their games. We did go to India versus Pakistan in Adelaide. That was an amazing experience. And then India versus South Africa in Melbourne, which they also won, which was also an extraordinary experience at the MCG with 90,000 screaming fans. Awesome. I think that, with India going far in this tournament, I think they can go far. India sometimes do stumble in the finals, so that's going to be something that they have to rectify. And it is quite a long tournament because each team plays each other. So I think there is 9 games each, and the top 4 go through to the semis. So it's going to be a long tournament. We're only in the beginning stages at the moment. But But so far, New Zealand are looking, pretty good. And India, well, they've only played 2 matches, but they are looking, in pretty good touch as well. Okay, so we're just going to have a look at India's fixtures after today's game with New Zealand. So they've got Pakistan, India versus Pakistan coming up after this game, which is going to be a cracker. And then they've got India versus Afghanistan, which Afghanistan can always bring a surprise. They've got a pretty good young team there. India versus West Indies, I'm really looking forward to that game, and I'm sure there is a few other people who I know are looking forward to this game. England versus India, it's going to be a tough contest, being England's home ground. Then they've got Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and then there is the finals after that. So in terms of New Zealand's matches coming up after this game, they've got a pretty tough run here actually. Each team plays each other once at least, but if you look at New Zealand, they've got South Africa next after this game, West Indies, Pakistan, Australia, and then England. So it's a pretty tough couple of matches they've got coming up. One thing that's going to be interesting in this tournament is, the backup players that they have for this whole tournament, because it is a bit of a long tournament. They've got 9 games to play, and you're going to get injuries. You're going to get people who do get injured during the course of play, and they're going to have backups. As far as I can see from India, they've called in Rishabh Pant, and they've got Vijay Shankar at the moment as backups. I think that they probably are short one bowler, but they haven't played Mohammad Shami yet. So fingers crossed there's no injuries on that end. New Zealand, they've got a pretty good squad. They've got Santner firing as well at the moment, so that's really good for New Zealand cricket. I really hope New Zealand play a very fair game, and they all seem like very friendly players on the field. So I think that's going to be a really tough battle, but played in a very sportsmanlike manner. So that's all from us here. We hope you do enjoy the game. I'm still saying us, actually. Sumit is here somewhere in space, but he's not actually here. So that's all from us at DE Sports. We hope you enjoy the game. We hope that we do get a game. We hope it doesn't rain out. And because I'm an Indian fan, go India. So thank you very much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification button to get notified, and enjoy the game.